All right, let's dive into something I think a lot of us have felt. That moment your brain just seems to hit a wall in a crowded room. And we're going to see that it really has almost nothing to do with being shy.
I mean, really think about it. You're at a party, maybe a work thing, or even just a big family get-together. You're talking, you're trying to follow along, and then poof, nothing. Your mind just goes completely blank. It feels like your internal computer just froze up. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, then you are in the right place.
So, first things first, let's get this straight. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not antisocial. What you're experiencing is a very real thing called cognitive overload. And it's simply your brain's way of saying, okay, that's enough. I'm being pushed past my limit here.
Now, to really get why this happens, we have to look at how your brain might be wired. Because here's the twist. The very thing that makes you so insightful and perceptive, well, that's also the source of this whole shutdown. This brings us to the core concept here, high-depth processing. What does that mean? It means your brain isn't just taking in information on the surface. Nope. It's wired to constantly and deeply analyze everything in your environment. It's a pretty incredible skill, but as you'll see, it comes with a cost. Here's the best way to picture this. For a lot of people, a social interaction is kind of like watching a standard, low-res video. You get the gist, you see the main action, and that's fine. But for a brain wired for high-depth processing, you're streaming that same interaction in stunning 4K Ultra HD. You're processing every single detail, every flicker of an eye, every subtle shift in tone, and that, my friend, requires a massive amount of power. So, what is all that 4K processing in the real world? Well, it means you're not just hearing someone's words. You are all at the same time trying to figure out what they really mean. You're sensing the overall vibe of the room, you're picking up on the emotion behind a tiny little hand gesture, and you're even running simulations in your head about where this conversation might lead. That is a ton of background computation happening every single second. And all of that intense, deep processing has a direct impact on what we call our social battery. But here's what's really interesting. Not all conversations drain that battery at the same speed. Now, this might sound completely backwards, but for a high-depth processor, small talk is brutally exhausting. Why? Because it gives your powerful brain nothing interesting to work on. It's like firing up a supercomputer just to calculate 2 plus 2. The machine gets bored, it starts to disengage, and the sheer effort of just pretending to be interested becomes this huge energy drain. We can call it the small talk tax. Just look at it this way. A deep, meaningful conversation can actually feel energizing. It's like a feast for your brain, giving it all that rich, complex data it loves to analyze. But small talk about the weather, the energy cost for that is through the roof. It demands so much effort from you, but gives your mind absolutely nothing stimulating in return. So what happens when that energy bar finally hits empty? Well, that's when the shutdown happens. And it is so important to reframe this. This is not a failure, it's not a bug in your system, it's a feature. When your mind goes blank, that's not you failing to be social. That is your nervous system slamming on the emergency brakes to protect you. It's a biological survival instinct, really, designed to stop a total system crash and to keep stress hormones like cortisol from just spiraling out of control. You know, there's even a scientific term for this. It's called energy conservation behavior. It's this primitive protective response. Your brain senses that its cognitive fuel tank is on empty, and it starts shutting down anything that's non-essential, like, say, complex social chatter, to save whatever energy is left for basic survival functions. Okay, so understanding all this is powerful, but knowing how to manage it, that's a total game changer. This isn't about hiding from the world, it's about learning to interact with it on your own terms, using an intelligent system for your energy. So, what's the game plan? Here's a simple 4-step workflow. First, start identifying which events are going to be deep and fulfilling versus which ones are going to be shallow and draining. Second, prioritize going to things that actually resonate with you, not just things you feel obligated to attend. Third, you have to treat your energy like a finite budget, because it is. And finally, and this part is completely non-negotiable, you must schedule dedicated recovery gaps after social events to let your brain recharge. Let me just repeat that because it's probably the most important thing to take away from all this. The goal here isn't to avoid people. It's about smart, intentional self-regulation. It's about managing your energy so you can show up as your best self for the conversations and the people that truly matter to you without completely burning out. And I want to leave you with this final thought.
If you experience this kind of exhaustion, it isn't a flaw. It's not a weakness. It's just a byproduct of having a mind that is wired to see the world with incredible richness and detail. It's the cost of seeing the world in 4K. And once you learn how to manage its energy needs, you'll see it for what it truly is, an incredible strength.